Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Really, not that much to report farm wise, apart from it's been hot and dry and hot. Except for last night, we got some rain. Um, Nothing significant, but enough that everything is now not dusty. Um, it's basically just surface water, and hopefully it'll help for the grass to get a little bit of a boost. But in terms of any impact on the dams, definitely can't see any increase in water levels at this point. So it's a much cooler day today in comparison to what it's been, but it's not cold. So yeah, as I said, the dams are really drying up. Not a lot of water in any of them. And what it's done now is at the big dam, the we had the fence around the trees that we'd planted through land care, and it was bordered by the dam on one side, and then like the other three sides were actual like electric fencing tape that we'd put up with a with a solar panel to operate the electric fence to try and keep the kangaroos out of eating these brand new plants. So they're right by the dam, but as the dam has receded, there is now a lot of embankment and dry space. So the kangaroos are now getting down to go to the water at the dam, and they're able to get into that area where those trees are, hoping that they don't do too much damage. The trees are bigger than they obviously were when they were first planted, so they might do okay. There is also a lot of grass in there as well, because that was an area that we did not have cut, obviously, for hay, and we haven't done any like whippersnippering or anything in there. So maybe they'll just eat the grass. It's really interesting because you can now see where the dam was and where it now is very, very clearly. Hurley is finding very few green blades of grass by sticking his head out through the fence. There are a few spots where he can get to and find those little bits. And Vito is putting his feet up on the fence and reaching out over and grabbing some leaves off the trees. Evie doesn't seem to do either. She seems reasonably happy with just having the hay. I think I'm going to have to go in there and like pull out the hay from inside their feeder to the edges, because it is starting to get a bit scarce, and maybe end up putting in another bale for them at some point as well. I got a whole stack more wispy lace yarn dyed up this past week, and I'm really excited. I've got some colors that I needed to restock, but I also did a little bit of playing around with some new colors as well. First to the old recipes. So I've got some hydrangea, and I don't think I've actually dyed this up on wispy lace before, but I thought it'd be nice to have like a variegated, so it's purple and turquoise mixed together, and I think that would go really beautifully with then a tonal or solid purple or blue, light blue. Fun to play around with some color combinations with that one. um I needed to restock my rose hip, so I did a batch of that. I did leaf, so the light green that I released late last year. I did some salmon. Thought it I've got like a light bright, like apricot orange, but I thought something darker, a bit more moody would be nice. And I did some more olive as well. I love how the olive comes out on this. You can really see like the brown and the green tones come through. And then I decided to play around with some colors. Now, I don't have names for all of these, and there sort of wasn't like a true like inspiration picture or a particular thing that I was trying to achieve. Sometimes that's where I'm going. Like I'll choose a picture, or I'll have a name in mind, and a particular color palette, and I'll try and work towards getting that color. With these, I was just thinking I want to try and mix a few different colors together that I haven't mixed together before and just sort of see how they came out. And I'm really excited with what I ended up with. So this first one is it's a brown, but it's got some sort of golden bits in it, sort of mocha-esque, I guess. I'm trying to see if you can get a. So I'm really excited. It's a really nice neutral that could be put through something. So there's this one, and then really happy with this. It's sort of like a frosted light, really, really light purple, with little pops of yellow and blue running through it. And it's, there you go, you can really see some of those colours through there. So, yeah, so I don't have names for either of these yet, but I really am excited to have these ready for you at my market on the 30th of March. So 2 new colorways, and I'll be deciding on names shortly because I need to get them labeled up and ready to go. And then this one I think I'm going to call salted caramel. So it's sort of gold and slightly darker browny gold, sections of white, really pretty. Super, oh, almost dropped it. So super happy with my experimentation with some new colorways, and looking forward to having those displayed at my first market on the 30th of March. So last week I said that I was hoping to have a whole lot of progress to show you. It's amazing the difference between holiday knitting and then a little bit of knitting every day after work, and how much you don't get done when you only spend a little amount of time. Amazing, right? But I do have some progress to show. So first, to my Pescadero by Amy Herzog. I think I'm about a third of the way through the front panel now. Sorry, I'm a little bit tangled here. What's going on? There we go. Okay. So I've got stoppers on the end. These are little stoppers that I got from Yarn Trader, which are a little bit smaller than some of the others that I have, and so they're good for this size needle. And this is the front here. So we're just working on the lace panel, and as I said, it's probably about a third of the way up. What I've done is I counted the rows from the back until I needed to get to the shaping, and then what I've done is written out like 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's a 4-row repeat, over and over again until it got to the number of rows that I needed to do. So I don't really need to count rows so much, but just mark off which portion of the repeat I'm on. And this is a yarn by Fluff and Nonsense. It's the, I should know by now because I've said it multiple times, it is the Sage Advice colorway on Tibetan singles, which is 65% superwash merino, 20% silk, and it is really beautiful to work with. But as I said, it is a little bit, because it's a single, it is a little bit like fuzzy. I don't know if you can see, probably. Yeah, you can see from the strand down there. It's a little bit fuzzy. So when it's warm, I don't have the air conditioning on like super cold, and it does get a little bit sticky in your hands. So I haven't been working on it a ton, but it has seen some progress. My grasslands tank, however, I've done quite a bit on. So this is the second grasslands tank that I am working on, and I am using Highland Handmade's The West for the body, and she does not dye anymore, indie dye from the US, but it's really pretty. And it is flashing and pooling and striping, and I'm really loving how that's turning out. So I have just knit, I think, to the point where I'm about to start the shaping. And because this has clearly formed a pattern of flashing and pooling and striping, I think that if I now go back to back and forth knitting, it's going to completely disrupt the pattern. So I'm going to switch back to this color, which is I think I have a tag in here. Maybe I don't. Here it is the Fiber Spates Vivacious 4-ply in the grape colorway. And I've got plenty of this. So I'm going to then do from the underarm up in the dark purple on both sides, and then do the shoulder straps and ribbing at the top in the dark purple as well. And I think that will tie it all back really nicely. And then I'll still have some of this much left of this that I can then put into some socks, or I don't know, add it to my big bowl of stash scraps that I have, that I need to sort of try and work through at some point. So maybe this will be done by next week. If it is, surprisingly, I haven't cast on any socks this year. I think because I've been working on these sort of larger needle stockinette in the round projects, which kind of substitute for a pair of socks. So I'm thinking next I might actually cast on a pair of DK socks. So use larger needles again, because the Pescadero is on quite small needles. And the other day I was moving my stash around because I was moving some furniture around in my house, and in order to move the cupboard, I needed to move some of the stash out so that it was light enough for me to be able to move. So I've now put all of the knitting books that I had on a shelf so I can see them, and the ones that I didn't have in my Ravelry library, I have added to that if they were in there, so that hopefully I can look in there at my stash, at my queue, at my patterns that I own, and do some matching up of things. And as I was going through moving things out of my stash cupboard, I saw these two skeins of socks here, a DK sock yarn, and I'm thinking that that would be really cool to do a plain sock, and then as it gets to above the cuff of my gumboot, do some cabling or some cool textured pattern on the top of the cuff. So that's where I'm going to start thinking about for those. Yeah, just to do something a little bit different. I do mostly vanilla socks, so it'll be good to do mostly vanilla and then add some different kind of interest at the top in the bit that you would see over the top of gumboot. That's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.